Warning, this video is intended for adult collectors. It contains plastic collectibles, questionable opinions, and someone who knows a lot about Japanese spandex. Incoming random review in 3, 2, 1.
Hello everyone. So, I'm trying to do a little more ad reads because I think I'm going to get to do a little bit more of that in the future, but for now I'm just kind of advertising my own stuff. And today I'll let you know that if you look below on this YouTube player, you will see a merchandise shelf from Spring that will take you to see a little bit of merchandise that I have thrown up for everybody. So you can get certain shows logos as shirts and stickers, etc. You can get the classic Skull logo shirt. That's available, as well as just stickers if you just want to keep a little bit of TJOmega around. I never really pushed the fact that I have merch, so I'm wondering how many people even know that it is there. Also, I'm working on a few new designs, and we might do some stuff that is limited time only. So as soon as I can figure out what I want that to look like, I'll let you guys know. But hey, I get to advertise a little bit of what I never talk about, so I think it's fair to bring up. I've only had a merch store for like 5 years. I think it's fair I get to talk about it now. But we're going to talk about Legacy Evolution Core Class Evo Fusion Dinobot Sludge. When we saw the listings for Core Class Dinobots, I think a lot of people got super curious and a lot of people got excited because it was cool to have these Studio Series Leader Class Dinobots that are, huge and like perfect for what they are. But this one, when we found out we were doing like core class Dinobots, I think a lot of people got even more excited because these are an affordable way of having a whole crowd of Dinobots right on your desk, which is super interesting to a lot of people. Then we get this. So the first wave is Sludge and Slug, but Slug at a lot of retailers, Amazon especially, came in later. So the one we have to talk about is Sludge. So that is what we'll be doing, and it might not be the best of news. So we'll go in with the classic close-up look. He is a Brontosaurus, which in the 80s we knew for sure was a dinosaur, and now it may not be. It may be a juvenile version of a different dinosaur, and then someone else comes along and goes, no, but look at this and this, that makes it unique, etc. It's one of those things that, like, it feels like a new discovery changes their opinion every year, so I don't really try to, like, bog myself down with it. For now, let's just say a Brontosaurus is real because I'm holding one in my hand, right? So, Brontosaurus mode, and looking like a big, beefy one at that. You see, he is cast mostly in his traditional gray plastic. He has elements of red showing through, which will eventually be his robot parts. But for now, the color kind of comes down to a little bit of gold on his back, the gold on his head, of course, as well as this silver trimming the front side of his body. It's a little bit sparse for a Dinobot. The tail I would have expected a little bit of paint on as well. But for the most part, I guess it's what they could do at that size class. His eyes are at least painted. He does get the Autobot symbol there on the front. Don't go out of focus, camera. This is a review. No one cares about the Star Wars section in the back. Yeah, it's not a bad looking Dinobot, I will say. Like, the head sculpt is actually pretty nice. And then, yeah, the rest of his body, it's big and bulbous like you would expect a Brontosaurus to be. It is a little bit weird in proportions, admittedly. The front legs seem way too small compared to how big and gigantic the back legs are. Now, that's because of the combiner element of this. So, Sludge is going to be taking the brunt of that combiner aspect for these core class figures. And that's going to be to his detriment. I think it's also a really bad way, it's a really bad that this is the first one we got our hands on because it kind of colors them in a negative light, I feel. Beyond that, as far as like coloring in a negative light, we can see a very obvious gap through the torso of the beast mode, which is unfortunate. And then what a lot of people have issue with, the entire front of his neck is entirely hollow, which is not a good look at all, especially at core class where you shouldn't really have a need to hollow things out, especially on a figure like this that doesn't come with any accessories. Yes, Sludge has no sword, no gun, no nothing. Take your argument about, oh, well, the Dinobots in Studio Series should have the swords, but like they never had swords in the cartoon, so no, they shouldn't. Take all your disputes to the core class, where they didn't get anything. They are just little transforming dinosaurs. But if you do want to arm him up, he does have those 5mm pegs there at the back of his hips, so you can mount something there. He's got little posts for 3mm stuff there on the sides of his legs, so you can do something with it. You can do something with it. But overall, it's not a great looking Brontosaurus mode. It's got quite a few flaws to it. Does the robot mode make up for it? What am I talking about? Like stolen toy reviews have already shown you everything this toy has. Like I'm building up any kind of suspense here. Let's transform him. The head goes down. This is a weird little set of transformations. So the back section and this section have to go in opposite directions at the same time in order to lift each other out. Getting them back into that way, into that mode, like you have to kind of press both halves of the back downward at the same time. It's a little bit weird. So, with that done, I'm going to rotate the tail section all the way down like so. Make sure that's folded down, and we'll open that up. I'm going to raise the arms so that we can rotate this all the way around. Split the arms like so and bring them down here, and then finish folding up the dino head on the back. And simple as that. It's a very quick and simple transformation for our core class Sludge. You're already seeing an issue with this figure. Even if this is, by some weird miracle or happenstance, the first time you've really seen this figure in action, this is going to start raising a few alarm bells because he doesn't look all that great, does he? He seems to have massive kibble issues. We've seen Sludge done way better in recent years. But let's take a look at the bright sides for now, and then we'll focus on what has gone wrong here. So we take a look at the head sculpt. I do think the head sculpt is really nice. It does invoke Sludge really, really well. It's got his little ears. It's got his kind of like blank expression they always had in the old cartoon. So that's all fine. Torso was done in a nice shade of red with black down the center. So, I mean, he's looking like himself. Black there for the pelvis, and then gold ends up there on the feet. So he's got that going for him. A little bit of black for the hands. So he does have a decent amount of paint detailing to him, as core classes can tend to do if they are a little bit more on the budget side of the part count. But then we have to talk about everything else that's going on with this figure. Yes, his arms are way out from his torso for some reason. That's a little bit distracting. But I think the part that everyone has issue with are the hips. So let's bring you in close, and I'll show you what's going on with the hips. Because if I change the angle here, you'll realize there are no hips. There are none. The legs are connected up here by these kibble sections. So you go leg, knee, thigh, over to here, and then up, and that's where it's connected. So it gives the illusion that the legs are connected in the right spot, but if we raise the pelvis section, you kind of see, that's not the case on this toy. It's very awkward looking. It's very weird looking. Now, does the toy still function? Yes. Yes, it does. In fact, we can show you the function. The head does rotate all the way around. That's good. Ball joints in the arms and the shoulders do mean that the shoulders are universally ranged. No elbow. No elbow whatsoever on this guy. We saw a torso rotation as part of the transformation, so nothing at the waist. And then you can raise his leg and bend his knee like that. So technically it can pose, but it does look sus. Like at a glance, it looks fine. At a glance, the illusion works, and it kind of looks like he has like full range in his hips and his knees, when in fact he does not. So like as soon as you move his legs too far out, everything just kind of goes away. You need to keep his legs close to that pelvis. Well, you can take a look at that pelvis. There's actually fake leg extensions on the bottom. That's how much they are trying to hide this. So yeah, that's 7-8 points of articulation, which is actually for a core class pretty low, and most of that's kind of hindered. So it's not a great look. And remember, no accessories to make up for it either. So your play value on this toy is next to nil. You get an okay transformation and then stunted and weird articulation. All because this thing is, yes, going to be a combiner at some point. And that is... I believe the combiner mode is actually pretty simple on this. I really think it's just that. I really just think it's that. And then the arms are going to clip into Slug, who will connect down onto here. Connect to there. That's going to form the forearm. That's going to form the main torso of Volcanicus. And then, yeah, those ports there, that's where the legs of Volcanicus are going to peg in. So he sacrifices a lot because he has to be the most problematic section of a combiner, and that is the pelvis section. You will note that on the Masterpiece Train combiners, I pointed this out in the news recap, in the news roundup, they're putting off that torso. They're putting off that lower torso form, part of Raiden till the very end, because that is the most difficult one to swallow. But if you're doing that at the very end, everyone who's already bought the other 5 are basically pot committed, and no matter how bad that pelvis one comes out, you still have to buy it to complete the combiner. To start with Sludge, for this to be the first one that made it into people's hands, that is really bad. That's a bad look for the overall combiner and the just like the excitement we had for core class Dinobots. Now, obviously, I don't think any are going to be nearly as hindered as this, but it definitely makes you wonder just how much is going to be sacrificed from the rest in order to form the arms and legs. I've got my Slug on the way, so I'll find out how much he sacrifices in order to be a torso. But that, my friends, is going to be our look at Core Class Sludge. It's an unfortunate one to come out first because it's a really bad impression. Because he suffers dramatically for that combiner mode, he comes across on his own as a pretty disappointing toy. No accessories, and very weird articulation, and not a very good looking robot mode as a result. Now, the final combiner might actually be worth it. Might look really, really cool. But, as I said, being the first one off the block probably was not the best call from Hasbro. So we wait and see what the rest are going to look like. We know there's 4 more on the way, but we've not seen a single one of them yet. So fingers crossed they turn out pretty good, because right now we have no idea how this is going to turn out. We just know that the first example is rough. Guys, I am facing the most powerful enemy any YouTuber can face, the algorithm, and I need your help to defeat him. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Every time you do, we attack that algorithm and we drive it back until it can no longer defeat this channel. Thank you very much.